Hi everybody, in this week's lesson about following Jesus, we need to talk about failure. The reason why we need to talk about failure in this process of following Jesus is because all of us experience some kind of failure. So what I want to do is I want to define failure, and I want to talk about how to deal with failure. By failure, a lot of young Christians, they get discouraged because they start getting this feeling that Christianity, if I put that in quotes, isn't working for them because they fail. They fail at doing this, they fail at doing that, or this doesn't happen for them, or that doesn't happen for them. In fact, Scripture gives a very stern warning to those of us who feel called to be Bible teachers. In fact, it says, and I'll quote in James chapter 3, verses 1, that not many of you should become teachers, my brethren, knowing that as such you will incur a stricter judgment. Meaning that people judge Christianity harshly because we judge Christianity the way that we do a car, the way that we do a relationship, the way that we do a product or a service. We want to see results. And when you are a Bible teacher, your life needs to represent what you read about in Scripture. So even Bible teachers who are going to experience personal failure themselves. So what is failure from a Christian perspective, and how do we deal with it? Well, first of all, know this. As you become a follower of Jesus, you're going to fail. But be sure that you are failing in trying to do what is right. So, robbing a bank isn't failure. That's a ridiculous conversation. What we're assuming is that you're trying to follow Jesus. You're trying to love your husband. You're trying to love your wife. You're trying to raise your kids correctly. You're trying to do a good job. You're trying to trust God. You're trying to have faith. And in the trying, you fail. You fall down. So that's the context of failure from a Christian perspective. But what does that look like? Well, when we lack faith in God, we do things that are faithless. We use credit instead of prayer, instead of trust. We say things with our mouth that we should probably was better to not say at all. We start doubting instead of asking harder questions. So what do I do as a new follower of Jesus? How do I deal with failure? Well, first of all, realize that you are going to fail. It's kind of like lifting weights. If you've ever done any strength training, and if you've ever had a personal trainer, one of the things that they will do is they will have you lift weights. And some of the trainers will have you lift weights until you fail, meaning that you can't lift the weight anymore, as a way to challenge your muscles and to grow your muscles. Now, sometimes God allows us to fail so that we can know the difference between how much we're relying on our strength versus how much we're relying on God's strength. So failure isn't always evil and dark and nasty. Sometimes failure is part of the growing process. Here's the other thing. God does not view you and I as failures. He views us as His sons and His daughters who are growing up, who are learning. So God knows that we will fail, but He doesn't look at us as failures. So when you fail, talk about it. Admit it. Talk to God about it. Talk to your friends about it. And learn from your failures. But make sure that you don't make your failures part of your negative identity, because that is not from God. That is from your enemy. That's from your old nature. That is from Satan. And that is from people who would want to hurt you. So what I want you to remember more than anything this week as you read the article is I want you to look at failure in a whole new way. If you are striving to be who God has called you to be, then you're going to fail trying to do good things. All that's going to do is make you better and stronger and healthier. Until next time, have a great week. And again, put failure in perspective. It's not as bad as it seems.